Well nominated. Yeah.
And you wrote most of her characters?
I wrote all her episodes. Yeah. With my, again, and with Lauren Light was my boss again on the series, and we worked together very closely. It was just fun.
I have to ask you, when you create a character like that, and you wrote her entirely, and it's over, do you miss her?
Yes. I do. I miss her. I never look back at these, honestly. But I hear her voice, I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember her. She was my friend. Yeah, I liked her, yeah. And she's a strong character, as you can see. She was a very, in some ways, unappealing character. But I think what saved her, which was one of my goals, was to bring humor to this show and to her character. Season 1, if you're familiar with it, didn't have a lot of maybe any humor.
So she plays on the dryness of
She's funny, yeah. And she did it amazingly, obviously. Both of them. Incredible people to work with.
Do you think that also helps forge future work with those types of actors? You form relationships with just the actor or just the character?
Well, with the actors, I mean, I would be comfortable contacting them if I wanted to about another project. They were amazing. And, you know, most TV is shot about in treatment. Let's say a half-hour show is shot in 5 days. Every in treatment was shot in 2 days. That was it. We did it in 2 days. And Gabriel Burns, you know, he never had a day off to. He talked constantly. I mean, he worked. He was in his chair. His chair was very important. He sat in that chair, you know, 12 hours a day, 5 days a week.
And he still got an Emmy nomination.
Yeah.
Despite the restrictions of not being able to.
Exactly. It was a lot about his. There's a lot of attention on his hands. You know, they say that people online would talk about his hands, and he, I assume, thought about. He had this. What did he have to use? You know, his face, his hands, how he shifted in the chair. Occasionally he would get up, but not very often.
I had a conversation by phone today with Ruth Lando. Ruth, you're here, right? Right here. There she is. We were talking about how in an animate object can become character. Denzel Washington in Flight has a scene with a midwife.
Yes.
And it becomes.
Oh, yes, it's hugely important. That's what the movie is about.
And it was so impressive to Ruth about how he made that. And I was thinking that about the food.
Oh, yeah. It's very. I mean, it's supposed to be very sensual in the way she's eating it, and her coffee and her croissant, talking about it, and she's actually, and her action in the writing is she's trying to provoke the therapist with her stories. That's really what she's trying to do. Well, you don't know. I mean, if you watch in treatment, you find out at the end of the week when he talks to his therapist, how he actually was affected by his patients and his sessions. The only other thing to point out is that for in treatment, when she walked into his kitchen, huge moment, you know, because for her, anybody to go into his kitchen for that type of show, that's a giant physical thing, as opposed to obviously in the first clip, you know, everybody's fighting and running, and then after this the cars pull up. And oh, the other thing to note about the first clip.